Namaste, family. It's Dr. Ajwa. I hope everyone is doing well out there and hanging in there. We are about to enter a new moon in Scorpio, which is bringing some dark, heavy, watery energy. We just got out of the 11:11 portal. It's just a lot going on. And lately, I've been feeling even more disoriented to time. I'm so happy that the 3D construct of time is starting to fall away. The universe as we know it actually revolves around seasons, which are associated with different planetary alignments and cosmic shifts, all of that goodness. So, this man made construction of time and turning minutes into seconds and days and hours based on how fast the earth revolves around the sun, that is not a natural measure of time. There really is no such thing as time. So that kind of leads me into the discussion that I'm going to be having with you all tonight. So I want to talk about the third and fourth dimensions with respect to how it ties into humanity and religion. So I mentioned in a previous video, just very briefly, about how Earth is moving into fifth dimensional consciousness, which is more of a oneness, the understanding that everything is connected. We are all connected. We are all a part of the source creator. It is the recognition that duality doesn't exist in such a polarized way. So light and darkness really aren't opposites. They're two expressions of the same thing. Good and evil are two expressions of the same thing. In and out are two expressions of the same thing. Left and right are two expressions of the same thing. So that is one of the illusions of the third dimension, is duality in the presence of good and evil. So when we start to talk about how religion is involved with the third and fourth dimensions, we have to look at our senses. So sight and hearing and being able to smell and taste and touch are all senses of the third dimension. When we start talking about the fourth dimension, anything that is above is called super. So we'll hear people talking about God being supernatural. So there are also senses within the fourth dimension. And these are senses that if you have ever gotten into anything dealing with psychics, claircognizance, which is clear knowing, clairsentience is clear feeling, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, premonitions, all of these things are fourth dimensional senses, or people may say my sixth sense, my intuition, but all of these things are fourth dimensional senses. So when we look at all the deities around the world that go by different names, you have Buddha, you have Confucius, you have Allah, you have Jehovah and Jesus, and the list just goes on and on and on, but I pretty much mentioned the most popular ones in this day and age. So why do people think they are God? My God is really God. Because these deities, and I'll mostly be talking about Christianity, but these deities have mastered the third dimension. So they have mastered the senses of the third dimension. They operate with senses of the fourth dimension. They've mastered the law of gravity, levitation. They've mastered the four elements: fire, earth, air, and water. So that is why you will hear in the Bible, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown in a fiery furnace, and they were there with the angel of the Lord, and nothing happened to them. They lived. That's because the entity behind this energy that is expressed as Jehovah/Jesus has mastered fire, which is an element of the third dimension. That's why Jesus could walk on water. He mastered water, an element of the third dimension. That's why Jesus can say, I'm coming on the clouds, because he's mastered air, an element of the third dimension. That's why spiritual people can levitate sometimes in rituals, or different times they might say, oh, I levitated last night. They've mastered gravity, which is a law of the third dimension. So getting back to what these gods actually are. And I'm speaking from my current level of understanding because the rabbit hole is very deep. And as you continue to grow and ascend, you will start to see that there are levels to truth. I do believe there is absolute truth, but there are levels to it. And you can only understand from your current level of understanding at that particular point in time. So as you continue to learn more and grow more, you begin to see, okay, so there's more to this story, and there's more to this story. So now I'll get back to why I talk about the entities. Excuse me, puppy's moving around. But I'll start talking about these particular entities in the fourth dimension. So religion seems to be a big thing for people that live in the 3D that do not seek to learn more. They accept what they are taught. And if you think back to when we were kids, how do kids learn? They ask questions. They ask a million questions. Between the terrible twos and probably 5 or 6 or 7, they ask nonstop questions. Why? I shouldn't eat ice cream all day. Why? Who said so? Why can't I eat ice cream? I want ice cream. And you have to give them a valid reason why they can't eat ice cream, or they're going to try to do it anyway. So within the fourth dimension, there are entities that take on the personality of these deities that people call God. So there is fourth dimensional entity or entities that are associated with the deity Jesus. There are fourth dimensional entities that are associated with the deity Buddha and Confucius and Allah and Muhammad and etc. The list goes on. There's thousands of gods. And they compete for your attention. They compete for the attention of the people of the world. So within the spirit realm, whatever you give your attention to, your energy to, you make it stronger. So if you fear something and it's on your mind all the time, you're giving strength to whatever it is that you fear. If you're afraid of dogs, since, this dog is being a big baby right now and she wants to go walking, we'll talk about dogs. If you fear dogs, the dog senses that fear and he starts acting up and he starts acting like he's going to bite you. Maybe not even because he's even a dog like that, but because you feared him, you gave him your energy, so you made him more powerful. That's how these deities operate. They compete for the attention of the people of the world. And it makes them stronger, more powerful. Not necessarily more powerful in the spirit realm, but powerful to create those illusions that keep you recycling in the third dimension if you go towards the light. My religion told me when I die, I'm supposed to look for the light at the end of the tunnel. The light is heaven. It's lit. Run away from the darkness. Go to the light. Yeah, that might just be another hospital room. So these fourth dimensional entities operate based on fourth dimensional senses. So getting back to, why does this person think that Jesus is absolute God? Why does this person think that Allah or whoever is God Almighty absolute? Well, I've seen signs. The mystics within the religion, I've seen signs outside of just reading the holy text. I've seen signs and wonders. What kind of signs did you see? Well, I had a dream one time that my brother was gonna get run over or something. So I told him not to go to the corner store at 5 o'clock, and then somebody else got ran over at that exact time. So I know that was the Lord. Okay, that was a premonition. That doesn't mean that it came from God. Well, I just happen to know things. Things just kind of drop in my spirit. I was standing in the front of the pulpit and the pastor gave me a word. He told me about everything in my life. Okay, so he had a moment of claircognizance. That doesn't mean that it came from God. Okay, well, I can just feel things. I just know things. I'll smell something and then it makes me think about it, and then it pops up. Okay, so that may be a type of clairsentience. That does not mean that it's from God. These entities operate from these psychic senses because they seem supernatural to people that operate with a third dimensional consciousness. They're not fifth dimensional entities, because if they were, they would not be competing for everyone's attention. Serve me. Who's the most powerful? If you ever wonder why Christianity and Islam became two of the most powerful religions on the planet for thousands of years, you have to consider they were trying to take over the world. They were forcing people to submit to these false ideals, meaning more people are giving their energy to these entities, making the illusion even stronger. So now as we progress toward the fifth dimension and we realize that we're all connected in this. We are all connected. Everything is connected. There is no event that happened in your life. There is no person that you met that was just a coincidence. Everything is connected. Every planetary alignment, every star in the sky, everything that is and exists, has existed or will exist is all connected. And once you understand that, you are now operating from fifth dimensional consciousness. So the fifth dimension is supernatural to the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is supernatural to the third dimension. So I encourage everyone, if this resonated with you, please hit like, please share this with your friends, please hit subscribe, please show your love and subscribe. I would love to get feedback from you all. Leave a comment. I just really want to spread some knowledge and enlighten people so that we can get past this uncomfortable stage of fighting over what God is the right God. And I feel like that spilled over into this consciousness movement, and it drives me crazy. I feel like leaving religion and going into consciousness is like a whole nother level of religion. It's just like there's some spiritual stuff mixed in with it, but there's still elements of the third dimension. We're trying to get to the fifth, and there's these illusions that are still present because illusions fall away at the fifth dimension, but within the fourth dimension, there's still some bit of illusion that is present. Now, illusions are very strong in the third dimension. People believe in what they can see and what they see only. If it's not there, they don't have proof of it, then it's probably not real. That is third dimensional thinking. So I just want everyone to elevate their thinking, start asking more questions, dig. And I'm just going to be honest, the further you go, the more you ascend, the higher you get, you're not going to be able to Google everything. There's going to be things that you have to meditate and go within to get. Got to spend time with self, got to spend time with the universe, got to spend time with your ancestors to get that knowledge, that esoteric knowledge that not everybody knows. It's not that they can't know, but everybody doesn't know. So you guys be encouraged out there. Keep pressing. I'm with you in spirit. Let's keep forging on. Let's make the way straight for all these people. We are the leaders. If you're listening to this video, you're probably one of the leaders into this movement of fifth dimensional consciousness. So stay encouraged and power to my people.